Hello everyone, Ryan here, coach Mega Pro Football Academy. Today what we'll be talking about is about football coaching done by parents through the sideline. For which the topic I'm going to name in the video is football parents coaching from the sideline. Now there are a lot of tournaments, rightly so, that youth teams play from under 6 level all the way to under 16s. There's a trend that I've seen amongst a lot of parents that some of them, of course, massive respect to the parents who come every day, watch their kids train, and then show up on the match day, encourage their kids, try and and they make sure that their advice is resonating with that of the coach and the coaching staff who work with them on a regular basis. There are a lot who either, I don't blame them, many of them who can't come for training every day, who can't come and watch their kids train because obviously they have work commitments, they have family commitments and whatnot. But the parents that I mind are the ones who do not show up for whatever reason, who do not show up for training, but on match days, whenever their kid is playing a match, they suddenly become they become Sir Alex Ferguson or Jose Mourinho or Pep Guardiola or whoever. They suddenly become coaches. They decide to forget coaches. They become managers during match days. Now, how they do that is that there'll be a team playing, okay, their own kid playing. Let's say a coach over the week has worked on, let's take for example dribbling, and over the week he said, okay, day one, make sure that you take a minimum of 3 or 4 touches before you pass the ball. Day two of the training of the curriculum, he may say that you have to dribble into a particular end zone before you can score. Day three would be, you have to take a minimum of 5 touches before you shoot. That's just for example. Now let's say that this is what they are doing. On a match day, all of a sudden you'll have parents screaming, pass it, pass it, pass it, shoot, pass, shoot first time. Now, how does this work how does this reflect, or how does a kid react to this when they are playing? Now, this is for every parent and for a lot of coaches. Please understand that for coaches or for parents, it's very easy for us to stand on the sideline and shout, pass it. Please understand that before a player has to pass, he has to scan the area. He needs to see where his teammates are. He needs to see where the opponents are. Once he sees that, he decides the angle of the pass so that it doesn't get intercepted. Then he executes it with the perfect weight of the pass and timing of the pass. He has to keep his planting foot towards a certain place. Now, do you think it's really so easy for a beginner player, or any player in fact, who doesn't play elite youth football, to get all these all these steps into action just by someone from the side shouting, pass it? And then when the kid does not pass it, then you have people screaming that, why can't you pass? He was right in front of you. You should have looked. Well, that's easy to say, but then if it was so easy, then why do you send your kids to academy? Why do kids go anywhere for formal training? Why can't they just be at home, or play wherever they have to, and then you just shout, pass it, dribble, shoot, whatever, and then just expect it to miraculously happen? So this is a big problem that I find with a lot of there are too many unreasonable expectations on the kids. Now, let's see how it benefits in terms of short term and long term. Short term, right there, let's stick to the example of having dribbling as a topic, as a curriculum over the week. Now, and yes, sorry, before that, at least at our academy, we are very particular about playing a lot of tournaments, because it's like a school. You go for classes, and then at the end you give an exam. The exam gauges how much you have picked up in those classes. It's the same at our academy with football. You train, that's your classes, and then the tournament, your match, that is to check how much the kids have picked up over the training, not to satisfy adult egos with winning matches. There are many coaches and parents who decide that, okay, we have to win this match. So then they'll be like, hoof it up, whip it, they'll give many terms that kids either take time to implement or they don't know of. They don't know what it means. Let's look at the short term thing. you've had dribbling as your topic. You want to implement that in the tournament. The parent says pass. Now the kid, remember, parents, please remember this: when you are present during your kids matches, the pressure on the kid immediately automatically increases because they want to impress you. And that is with every kid everywhere, until they become, let's say, an over a 16-year-old and above, who's playing regular matches, who has proven that he or she is good at the game, or things like that. So that's automatically 25%. I'm just giving a number. Let's say a 25% increase in their pressure. They want to impress you badly. They want to show you that they are better than the other teammates. They want to show you that they are the ones who win the matches for the team. They want to show you that they are the best players in the team. In order to do that, they are going to step away automatically from the most developing option, which would not be the best option, but they and many parents wouldn't realize would be beneficial to them in the long run, and they'll stick to decisions that can help them win the match. Now it is up to us. Now it's very easy. I'll give you an example of what happened 2 weeks ago at our academy. Now we have an under 10 team. The under 10 team, our coach is a very good. He's a young coach, quite hardworking. Tries to adapt and implement a lot of the foreign coaching techniques. He's not exactly like a typical. I wouldn't label it as an Indian coach, but a typical football coach in India. So he will not take the best option. Our players at under 10, our players are not the best with dribbling. They are definitely not. But then we realize that instead of getting them to pass, how about they get comfortable with dealing with the ball on their own? Otherwise, they just play spare part and keep trying to pass to the better players. So this coach is trying to implement an element of selfishness, that dribble, deal with it, see what you can do, things like that. When they played a tournament at the end of the week, and yes, they trained for dribbling around from between 1 and 2 weeks, and that's still a bit less considering the level of that the kids are at, because many of them are beginners. And on the match day, the coach mentioned to the players that take as many touches as you can in his pre-match team talk. They take as many touches as you can, see what you can do. And he gave a few coaching points with regards to that you go get the ball out, take it wide, or things like take it away from your opponent, things like that. The players were trying it, but yes, they were trying it, and I was astonished to see how quickly, because they got the match day experience, they failed 1 minute, 3 minutes later they got a move right. Then a few minutes later they did even better at that move. But the problem was that the opponent team, they were already at a different level in terms of teaching and the time they had with their players. So they had already reached the passing module. They did tackle our players. We believe that and yes, another piece of information I'd like to give, that we are very particular about not sticking players at a certain position when they are too young, because they may get a few saves here and there at age 7, but then who knows, maybe they'll become the best finisher age 12. So we don't want to restrict that. So we try and rotate the goalkeepers. So our players dribbled, got tackled, the other team won the ball, and they scored, and I think they beat us 5-2 or 5-3 or something like that. At the end of the match, everything was over. The coach I was talking about, he told them how it worked, how they did well in certain areas and things like this and that. Then when the three coaches decided to, okay, now you go relax, do what you have to, because there was, I think, a half an hour or an hour to go before the next match. There were 2 games on that day. We were sitting, and suddenly you had 5 or 6 parents who came to us saying that we come with a certain expectation. We want to see decent results. Now, how do you define decent results? Is decent result limited to winning matches? Would winning an under 10 tournament mean that you're going to go and become a pro footballer? Would becoming would becoming a great, passer, or a great dribbler, or a great shot taker, a limited skill, have a one dimensional game, would that determine you becoming a pro at the future? I doubt it. This under the younger the age group, obviously it's all about getting the fundamentals right, practicing those fundamentals, getting raising your confidence, not being afraid of failing, because you may make the move now, fail, but then you should still have the courage to do it again, second time, third time, and fail 10 times and get it right in the 11th. So that I don't believe that we should be putting too much, we shouldn't be putting pressure on the younger the age group, the lesser pressure we should put. That's how I would put it. Then these parents came. That was one about results. The second one was, you should be doing, what was it? Let me just remember. Yes, one parent said you should have one physical player. Everyone should pass the ball to him and he should make things happen. Come on, guys, this is not professional football where you're keeping a big number 9 up front and then you ask everyone to give aerial balls to him. He holds it up, turns, and shoots. Of course, we have such players. We have 2 or 3 who can physically dominate. But then I would not want to have, firstly, I would not want to have the entire team depending on one player, because it may win us the match. You stick your strongest player up front. You keep the strongest player, physically strongest player up front, technically strongest player in midfield to go up and down, and the game is probably won. You have one defender who's good at just whacking it, and you probably win games. But then what happens is, they will win championships, they will win whatever, at under 10 level. But then when they go up to a higher age group, and then suddenly that target player is marked, then the players they don't know what to do, because they are used to playing as a spare part, that you get the ball, you play it to him, you get the ball, you play it to him. If the technically best player, midfielder, just for example, if the other team studies where his movements are, that he only looks to link up with the physically strongest player, and then they find a way of taking him out, and he's out of ideas, because he automatically is used, because for him this technique wins me the under 10 championship. So he's always looking for that one player, doesn't trust his other players, and he gets found out. You can't depend on the other players, because they are playing as a spare part, that you get it, you pass it, you get it, you pass it, don't do anything on your own, don't take risks, and the other wrong advice that parents give them. I would rather that, okay, you may at whatever, youth till under 14 level, in my personal opinion, because after that one would expect that players who have been with us, or in usual cases, they are at a good level, their fundamentals are clear, so you can go into a bit of tactical work with them. But here it's all about every player being confident. You get the ball, make things happen. I don't care whether you're a striker or you're a centre back. Even if you're a goalkeeper, don't be afraid to take on one player or take on the opponent and then make a pass. High chances are that the opponent wins the ball from you, taps it into goal. But at least you tried. At least you know that, okay, he came from a certain angle, I went right into him, and that's why he got the ball from me. So maybe next time I get the ball, he comes from one angle, I go the other side and make my pass. Now this is only going to happen once I fail. Parents now, they are going I'm mixing my thoughts, because there were so many pieces of so-called expert advice given by the parents. I'm trying to list all of them out. So this is why I would not believe in, to whoever would suggest such a tactic. We are not playing professional football. We do not want robots. We do not want to depend on one player. It's a team game. We want everyone developed, so that once they are at the higher the age group they go, the better each and every player is technically, and the more options and variety you have in tactics. Because once everyone is adept with their technical ability, you may decide to play long. If that's your choice, you play long, that's your call. You may decide to play out from the back. You know that every player is adept at playing in that playing style. Another one I heard was, the players are dribbling a lot, why can't you encourage them to do combination play? Now, combination play is a word that I've heard many people use, because I don't know whether it sounds fancy or whether they automatically think combination play just means teams combining and playing. It's not that. There are a variety. There's underlapping runs, overlapping runs, one twos, takeovers. There are too many techniques. Now, combination play is only taught once you have mastered the art of passing, because you can only combine with a teammate once you're an expert at getting the ball from him, because passing is getting the ball from yourself to a teammate. Combination plays yourself to a teammate getting involved, so you receive it again and make your next move. So it's not that easy. You can easily give terms. Now, what we did was, in the next in the match that happened half an hour later, as much as we hated doing it, we completely hated doing it, but then this was, in our view, the only opportunity I thought we got of proving a point to the parents. We had a game. We became the complete result oriented coaches who considered this match as the Premier League winning decider between Manchester City and Liverpool. Put certain tactics, nothing great. We just said clear it, no risks. Look for that one particular strong player. Take as many shots as you can. Things like this that are of no use. Guess what? We won I don't even remember what scoreline we won the game by. I think it was 9-0 or 11-0 or 14-0. I honestly can't remember. We went back after the match and every parent was delighted. They were like, yes, yay, you won this and that. But parents explained to me, and yes, I went up to one parent and I asked him that, yes, great, we won, but what did they learn? A lot of the goals they did score here and there were fantastic dribbles, which obviously is because they trained the week before and the week before that, and they failed in their first match where they got bashed by 5 goals, 5-2 or 5-3 or whatever the score was, rectified those errors, scored half the goals that way. Now the other half of the goals that they scored, which was shots from long range just because the opponent keeper was not too good. Do you think that when they play under 16 level or under 18 level, they are going to have a keeper who can't deal with long range shots? It's simple logic that it's not the right thing to do. Now, passing wise, a player has space, he has enough space, he has 5 yards or 8 yards to himself, but then he still forces a pass. How about dealing with it himself? At youth level, if you find space, I would automatically suggest that you do it on your own, reach a certain travel 5 yards with the ball or whatever, and then if you feel you want to take the player on, go for it. If you feel that there's a passing option, then you go for the second one. That's your call. Based on that, we are going to go on to the next one, which is decision making is key. In fact, why I'm looking down is that I've gathered 7 points that I want to that to get my chain of thoughts together, and then talk to everyone in a chronological order kind of thing, whatever you want to call it. So I did cover up a bit at the start of the video about decision making. There is like the example of pass. You can easily say pass it, but then how about the certain number of aspects that the player has to do before he actually passes the ball and when he passes the ball? I don't blame the parents, because a lot of parents, most parents are not ex-footballers themselves. Because from my own experience, parents of kids who have played football on their own, they do not give the advice that non-footballing parents give, because it honestly is, they have done it, they have gone through it, they have gone through people giving them what I would blatantly call useless advice, short-term advice, selfish advice. I think short term is the wrong word. Whatever you want to call it, the next advice that will help in the next second. no farsightedness, nothing. So they usually do not. They are great at judging whether the coach is doing a good job, which I like, because that keeps coaches on their toes and coaches are under pressure to deliver good sessions. Now the ones who don't, who have not played at the best level, they watch football on television and they see Cristiano Ronaldo do something, and then they are like, okay, my kid is playing against players who are not at the level of Ronaldo's opponents. The players my kid plays against are bad, so why can't my kid at least do this and that? Now there's another thing that every parent thinks that his or her child, son or daughter, is better than what they actually are. This is a human tendency. The parents don't understand the internal factors and external factors that come with when you're playing. You want to impress your teammates, you want to impress your coach because you want to start as many games as you want. You want to impress your parents, you want to impress spectators or whatever. When you go at a higher level, you want to impress scouts because you don't know who's watching. There you want to probably at a more higher level, you want to get that pro contract, you want to get a great trial, you want to get a youth contract, you want to get whatever you want. That's already what's happening what's going on in the kid's head. Then when he's playing, it's easy to watch that, okay, the you should be able to do this because there was so much time for before the opponent came onto you. But what about when the kid has to look to control a ball, when he has to scan the area? Points I'm repeating. It's not that easy, parents. It's not that easy. It's easy to watch, not easy to. It's not easy to. It's not. Yes, there's a great new term called joystick coaching. Joystick coaching, that okay, now you do this, do that, blah 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 blah. It doesn't work that way. They are human beings who are developing. There are, I mean, professional footballers on 150,000 pounds a week make mistakes. So I think the least we can expect is a beginner 8-year-old to make mistakes. I mean, there are so many points I can go on and on. I think it's 22 minutes done of this video. I'm trying to cut it short, but then this is a big topic that I want to again share so that parents can just understand a little bit and just they do it with the they do it with. I would never criticize them on their intent, because I know that they want the best for they want the best for their kid, they want the best for the team the kid is playing for, but then this is not the best way of doing it, trust me. Now, there's a solution for this. For decision making, as again, I'll just have a recap on it. Let kids do it. Let kids fail. Failure is the best way that kids are going to rectify their errors. Someone shouting from the side, warning them, or criticizing them on the spot, that's not the way going forward, because it's just going to increase the pressure on the kid. And then I'm going to talk about the burnout factor in some time. Now, as coaches, now a lot of coaches would be wondering that I'm sure a lot of coaches can relate to what I'm saying, because there are too many coaches who are trying to implement their own style of play, and then you have parents shouting from the side, and coaches do not want to tell the parents anything for two reasons. Either number one, they are paid employees of the academy and they don't want to be blamed for a kid leaving, or number two, the owner of the academy cares largely on how many number of kids he has, so that he has a certain income coming in, which is great because academies are a business at the end of the day. But so this is how parents get that leeway at our academy. And I'll say it very blatantly, for us the number of kids we have is secondary, and development is primary. We have made it very clear to a lot of parents that if you think we are not doing it right, if you think there are other places that are doing it better than us, if you think your kid can do better somewhere else, please go ahead, we don't need you. This is a clear message we have given everyone, because in my opinion, in the years of football that I have watched and been a part of, I mean, this may not sound right, this may not sound too kind, too polite, whatever, but the more, again, parents interfere with the best interest of they with the most with they want the best. They definitely want the best. I'll never blame them for that. But then the more you give leeway to the parents, to interfere and this and that, the lesser the success of the ultimate goal, which is of developing the players, because parents are always going to come with short term fixes, and everyone has amazing solutions until they actually have to improve a kid. So, how the best way, in my view, to curb to at least to minimize. See, this is not a 1 day process. You can't coach. This is purely for coaches. Coaches, I understand that you can't have an overnight thing that suddenly parents they understand where you're coming from. That's not the case. It will take time. But how we could do it is, now for this, coaches have to be honest enough themselves. Their work ethic has to be great themselves, that they plan their sessions with an ultimate goal, not just come deliver a session on that day that has no connection with a long term plan. You just have to deliver a session just because you have to. If you do that, then you, rightly so, everyone should criticize you. But if you have a systematic plan in place, that this week I want this done, next week I want to cover this, within this month I want to cover this concept, within 3 months they have to be able to do this and that, at the end of the year they should be comfortable with XYZ, things like that. How about you assemble all the parents and share this information with them, that okay, your son or daughter is a great passer, but then I'm sticking with this passing, dribbling and shooting because those are the main ideas that revolve around football at the youngest of age groups. And yes, I'm a bit off topic. For all the parents, if you have to win games at the youngest age groups, it's simple as hell. You just need one player whose shooting power is amazing. Get the ball to him, get him to take shots, and you're 1-0 up in no time. But then he gets found out later. It's very easy to nullify that. So for the coaches, if you want to, you can explain to them that your daughter is the best at passing, but then her dribbling requires work. I'm not going to encourage. Of course, you can't discourage someone from passing, but you're going to encourage that player to dribble more, because you want her all-round development happening, where she's comfortable with every aspect of attack, because we are dealing with dribbling, passing, shooting, things like that, and control, or whatever you're doing. That could keep you on the same wavelength as the parents, because then parents are already prepared that okay, when we go this Sunday to watch our kids play, we are going to see a lot of shooting happening. Let's take for example shooting. Our kids, the parents will understand that maybe our kids don't have the power in their legs. They will be taking shots from wrong angles. They will be taking shots at wrong times. But then that is because we want to encourage them to shoot. So this could be a solution to how you could keep parents on the same wavelength as you with what your ultimate objective is. Now, a very, very interesting topic two very, very common famous terms I've seen. I would label it as famous because it happens everywhere, at least in where I work, in the periphery of where I work. The two words I hear every parent shouting on a match day is pass and shoot. Defensively, I've heard this very, very vague term saying play hard. I wasn't planning on giving examples of defense, but I wanted to do it just of attack. But then, anyways, this term is too hilarious for me to ignore. When you say play hard, what do you mean? Go and do that 2-footed tackle so you get sent off? In your view, does it mean that you're going to go and do this, keep doing your slide tackles? Does it mean you're going to elbow someone? In a parent and a lot of coaches' views, play hard means get that perfect tackle, don't get bullied physically. Do you know that playing that perfect tackle. You can't just dive into a tackle, because if the other player is skillful, he just changes direction and you look like a comedian. Anyways, that is one very very comedic word in terms of defending. In terms of attack, pass and shoot. You Parents do not want kids to keep the ball. They want to see this FC Barcelona style tiki taka football. Like FC Barcelona, their players have been at the La Masia Academy since a younger age than many parents in India even introduce their kids to play football. They do it over many years. The country has got a style of play. The coaches are far more qualified, better at delivering the sessions. You can't expect that to be replicated here. No chance. There's no chance that's ever happening until the players have, let's say, I mean, there's a great rule in global football that you are only considered, I think, what is it, I can't remember the exact term, but I think like you're considered at a level where you can play to a decent ability once you've had 10,000 touches on the ball. When you say pass and when you keep shouting pass, the players automatically think, okay, panic. I get the ball, I can't keep it. Keeping the ball with me is a sin, because if everyone's shouting, why didn't you pass? See, you lost the ball because you didn't pass. Or shoot, 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 shoot. I mean, yes, you can shoot, but then when there's a good goalkeeper, he's just going to grip every ball and make you look like a fool. What about that? Has anyone thought about that? I don't think so. So, please try and refrain from limiting the creativity of youth players. Now coming to the next part about burnout, which I had promised I'll cover. When parents become this Brian Clough type manager with a 8-year-old, and why did this happen? Why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? This is not the way to play, or things like that. Please understand that this is how it is. This can be considered as a ragging culture. It actually can, because the kids initially enter the sport because they want to have fun. Nobody enters the sport because they have become so serious in life that the only thing they can do once they get out is play for whatever, some top team. That's not the case. Many of them want to have fun. Many of them play because they want to be around their friends. Many of them play because they like the experience of being outdoors. Many of them treat football as a stress buster from education. Many of them have personal problems that they can't share with parents, and football gives them a leeway to de-stress. Now, when you're going to be pointing fingers, you're just adding to that stress, and all the kid is going to one day decide is that I'm not having any of this. Every time I get onto the football field, I'm shouted at. This is of no use to me. Now, that is a big reason why many kids decide to quit football. So please avoid doing that, please, because if a kid has to if a kid has to become a professional footballer at the end of it, it all depends on his journey. You shouting on that one match day is not going to make him a great player, and trust me, it's too short term. It's not going to make him a better player tomorrow either. It's just going to instill damage limitation into him, that what can I do that's going to be the least of risks, that's not going to have fingers pointed at me. That's why you don't find creative players in India. It's hard to find creative players in India because that's the culture over here. So please try to avoid that. Now the last thing, which is again this will be with parents who are well versed with the psychological aspect, and definitely coaches. So there is, of course, the fixed mindset and growth mindset. If you look at it in purely from the psychological perspective, not from the footballing perspective, a fixed mindset is basically that, okay, you have this, you're going to perform. A growth mindset is that if you do this, it'll help you, it'll enable you to achieve that, or if you do this, it'll enable you to achieve this. which is basically hard work. Is a lot growth mindset. People are the hard work is a big thing for them. With growth mindset, please understand that shouting at them is going to end up with them only burning out and not trying new things, and trying new things is the only way you can actually is a big way of how you can end up doing something great in football, because once everyone is at an equal level and only a certain few become professionals, it is that one player who has got something different from the others who will get that contract. Now if you're gonna push it, if you're gonna how do you say, if you're going to just stop it and not allow kids to express themselves, there's no chance that growth mindset is going to happen. The only expectation that I would say I have as a coach from every player from under 10 level all the way to under 16 level, or under 8, or the youngest age group all the way to under 16 is, I mean youngest, not youngest age group, but under 8 onwards, is that once you're on the field, make sure that you train and play in a way that once you're finished training, all you want to do is sleep. Because that hard work is, for me, hard work is a non-negotiable when you're playing on the field. Once you have that hard work element, nobody can get you to work hard. That is something that you decide on your own, because otherwise if a coach can get you to work hard temporarily, and the moment the coach is not looking, you do your own thing, but then that's not the way. If a kid, if it's instilled in a kid that you have to work hard, you never stop running, or however you want to explain it, that's good enough. So in a nutshell, parents, I'll just try and make this as short as possible. I mean, it's unreasonable to expect you to come and watch them train, but during matches, can you please find a chair, relax, get a cup of coffee, sit down, understand that this is a learning process for your kid and for the kids around him and her, and you have to just chill, watch your kid play, watch your kid win, watch your kid draw, watch your kid lose, watch your kid make mistakes, watch your kid do a great move, watch your kid make an error that's considered a goal, watch your kid do something unbelievable that makes them score a goal. Please encourage them, and on the journey home, when you take your kid home, he's already thought about the match. And this is, if now the parents have to have this maturity that if the kid wins, if the kid has done, if the kid has done well, kid is happy, you can talk to him like, okay, this was great, that was great, maybe you could have done something here, could have done something there. Now when a kid has played badly, or when the kids team loses, the moment he's in your car, please change the topic. Do not talk about the game. So the moment the match is over and you see your kids team lose, please think of a topic. Think about which restaurant to take him out to, or which friend to visit, or what's being cooked at home. Just completely divert his attention, because or his or her attention, because you do not want the kid to be going over and over about that, because automatically his confidence levels drops. And when that player has had a bad game, the last thing he or she wants is another piece of criticism, because he's already got criticism from his teammates. He has been, if for a bad performance, he has been mocked or laughed at by opponents. Perhaps the coaches have criticized him or her. The last thing is you criticizing. So during match days, please get your coffee, chill and relax. Understand it's not the World Cup. Understand that it's a learning process. Understand mistakes will happen. Understand great things will happen. And please let this be a journey. Let this be a good 10 to 15 year journey of youth football. Signing off. Thank you.